sometimes it's a bit hard to make an interview with a band that lives all the way in the US because we have quite some time difference. But the American Sublation from Philadelphia didn't really care and wanted to meet with me anyway. So I asked them a lot about the new EP and whatever is going to be next for them. And we had a really nice conversation that will teach you a lot about their technical depth and the way how they make it. Enjoy the interview.
I first want to congratulate with the new release. Can you tell me a little bit about how the EP got together?
Yeah, sure. Well, it was about, I want to say it was like a year and a half ago. So I had this concept of doing an EP or it wasn't necessarily an EP, but just the idea of having a recording that had some different production styles as well as, metal styles, which I feel like, you hear one or the other, but I haven't heard a recording where you heard both, where like the production changed as the styles changed. So I just thought it was a cool idea, and I mentioned it to Max, and then I went away for a tour for like 6 weeks, and then when I came back, Max was like, "Hey, surprise! I wrote an EP that was like based on your idea." I was like, "Oh, wow!" And so yeah, so it was kind of cool. Just hearing all that, and then we tweaked some stuff as we got back, but I think it was about this time last year that we actually started recording it and going through that process, which was obviously a different recording process than we've done in the past, so it took a bit longer than I would have wanted it to take, but yeah, so we worked on that through most of this year, and then finished it a few months ago.
Oh, that's nice. I mean, if you look at the debut, can you point out where's the biggest difference? Where did you grow?
I think just, when we kind of reformed and under this new name in like 2020, one of the things that we both agreed on was that we wanted to have, the most control over the way our recordings sound. And so I think just kind of growing as, engineers and mixing engineers and producers and things that we've never done, prior to 2020. I think that's just like been an evolving process, I mean, but it wasn't, it was out of kind of necessity too. Like we reformed and we're like, all right, we want to record albums. And the last place we went to got way bigger since 2014 we recorded there. So it's like we could spend $4,000 to record this album, or we could spend $4,000 on gear and learn it ourselves and also just be happy with the product we're putting out too. I think that's the biggest thing. We've always recorded a lot of great places, but there's always been things in my mind. I have a different brain than Max too, so I'm more on like the production side of things, like thinking like, how can we get those guitars cut more and the drums the way I want it. So I think that's big areas for me that growing in, but I know with Max too, like just conceptually being able to do something a little different like this is, certainly satisfying to him.
Yeah. Like a bit for the sound, might be some people watching that don't know you yet. Can you explain to us, like, what kind of band would you like to tour with that are maybe recognizable for the sound that you like to have?
Yeah. Oh, geez. That's well, I mean, we're not really, right now it's just me and Max, so we're just a two-piece. We have talked about getting additional members and playing some shows, but I don't know if we're quite there yet. But both of us see that down the pipeline. As far as touring with some bands, there's a lot. I feel like a lot of the bands that we've been talking about back and forth are European bands, so it's like I don't know how realistic it's getting them to come through, but I don't know. One that comes to mind is Walg. I believe they're from Portugal, I think, but they put out the like WALG, that band. That would be a great band to link up with if they ever come to America. Then we'll reform really quickly and get a band to open for them. But but obviously like some bigger bands. Belphegor is a band that is a huge influence on both of us. That was since way back when we started writing together in 2008. That was definitely one of the bands that brought us together.
Cool. What would you say was the biggest challenge when you were creating this album? It seems like the way you speak that it went quite smoothly, actually.
Yeah, it was, I guess, relatively. Maybe for Max, it was really smoothly. I mean, I think this is one of the records that he put together the fastest. You know, it's kind of like a lightning in the bottle thing for him, and just, you know, maybe it doesn't seem that way, but from the outside, you know, because usually we would we'll get together and we'll work out songs himself, but this was one that was really just like, nope, I got it. It sounds great, and then I listened to it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have much input. This sounds excellent, Max. But I think one of the main challenges was just trying to, you know, have, you know, there's the first few songs are a little more technical and fast and precise, and then as the EP goes on, it gets more black metal and raw, and so just trying to capture those tones. You know, it doesn't make sense to have like a black metal song with like a modern death metal production. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And vice versa. And so we had a couple of these songs that sounded like that and just needed to get the right sound. Whereas normally when you record an album, you know, you get your drum sounds and then that's it for the album. That's the snares, the way the snare sounds throughout. And so I didn't want to do that. And then same thing with the guitars and everything. So that, I think that was probably the biggest challenge, just trying to, you know, get what's on my head out of my head into real life microphones and speakers. And yeah, definitely took a little longer than I would have hoped, but I'm, you know, happy with the results for sure.
Yeah, cool. I was looking at a little bit at the songs that there is on the EP, and I think the opener is quite one that sets the tone. But can you tell me a little bit about this track?
That track, I would say that song, like, it's probably what is a little more consistent with what we did on the first album. So, you know, we wanted to start somewhere where we left off. And so it's super fast and blast beats, and it's actually the only song I feature a guitar solo on the EP, which makes me kind of sad because I think Max is just like the most fantastic person at writing solos. You know, that's like big critique of mine with a lot of bands. It's like, yeah, great. I mean, the solo could be a little bit better, but I'm just spoiled because Max is like so good at doing that you know, that's a great example of how, you know, he is at writing solos. But it's only one. So in the future, we'll have more songs with some solos on it. Hopefully, if it was up to me. But
cool. I mean, if you look at the Ideopathic track, I really liked the way it sounds. It has a bit of, I don't know, catchy, if you can say it like that. The melody is really there in a way. What lies in the inspiration for that song?
It's funny because that's one of the songs that I actually wrote on like 4 or 5 years ago, and I wrote it on guitar, and I'm not very good at guitar. So it was like just really kind of crappy demo that Max was able to decipher. But yeah, that was one where I wasn't sure. I recorded it, but I wasn't sure if I liked it. But it kind of fit the flow of the EP, and going from like, you know, a super technical thing to more broken down, and it's kind of like, you know, it gets slower and more rock, I guess, if you want to say that. And so I wasn't sure if it fit, but Max was really liked it, and what he did, you know, vocally and lyrically just really made me feel more confident about it than I had in the past. And the lyrics are more, you know, I guess, more easily interpreted for that song, but the whole EP, it revolves around the concept of decay and kind of breaking down throughout, which, you know, was something that we were trying to do musically, but also all the lyrics to kind of fit that theme. That was also like an original idea I had back then. So just the idea of like each one, it's not concept album, I guess, because each song's kind of different, but it's a different take on like decay and breaking down and that sort of thing.
Okay, nice. I mean, I think my overall favorite was maybe This Little Death. It has so much power in there. What can you tell me about the origin of that?
Oh, that one was, you know, the last song I think we wrote. Strangely enough, this was one that was written like kind of in order, which made sense for this release, that that we were just kind of, had a vision of where it would go. Well, normally, I guess when you record records, or you're just writing songs and then you're just trying to take the best and then compile them afterwards. But this one was written with the intention. It's like, okay, now this is the last song, and we had a vision of what the song should sound like. And so it was really loose, kind of the way we recorded it. I mean, we wanted there to be some weird sort of transitions. I think there's a part that it's like an odd number of bars, or it's it's not like 8 and 8 and 8 like most verse choruses are. But that was intentional, but it was kind of like, I think we played it like 3 times, and every 3 times we played it was like a little different. And then I had like one recording of one of the takes that was like good, and then we just kind of rehearsed that one. And then when I played it in the studio, I just wanted to do that in one take. I mean, that was kind of the idea from the beginning. It's like we want it to be kind of raw and powerful, and it shouldn't be edited or to hell and try to get it perfect or whatever. It's just not the type of song that did that. So Max was funny because Max works night shift. So when we get together is usually like midnight to 5 and 4 in the morning or sometimes. So when I was recording that song and he was kind of doing the computer work for me, it was like 5 in the morning at that point, and I was like completely tired. And I recorded more takes, but they just got worse and worse and worse because I was just like, I've been playing for like 6 hours. And so, yeah, I'm like really happy the first one was good. That's the one you hear, like the performance. That's just like everything else got really bad. And I'm like, all right, I think we got one. So, but that was kind of the poetic, I guess, with it, just because it was just like, yeah, that was the last of my energy, and that's the last song, and cool, we're done.
Good. Do you have any favorites tracks to play, or?
Definitely. Actually, I really like the Eclipse All, which is the 3rd track, and it's pretty simple drum wise. It's just straight double bass the whole time, which isn't easy, but it's simple. It doesn't require much thought. You're just playing it, and but just like the way it started to way it ended, I think that song had the most transformation. And yeah. And so Rocco from Release the Blackness, he's a good friend of Max's, and we chat with him. They're from Italy, that band, and he did the vocals towards the end of the song, like the big chant stuff, and that was like the last thing we added. I didn't even know that was like necessarily going to turn out that way, but then it just became huge, and I added some weird sounds to the back. So that one, just playing along with that one, is like, oh, feels like so different than the demo. So I think that one's probably my favorite. And the first track on it, Congenital, that's just like blistering fast and in your face the whole time. So I like that kind of stuff. That's more fun to play too.
Okay. Are you planning to do like videos for this EP, or?
So we did a video for the first track, Congenital Putrance, and I think that we did like a couple playthroughs of some other songs, but I don't know if we're going to release another video, but we might release a couple more playthroughs and things of that nature. So Max is the video editing kind of guru, so it's up to him if he wants to do the other one or another track, but I'm of course down.
Okay, nice. Well, we already spoke a little bit about life. Are you currently planning anything on the road to go on the road, or?
Not currently. We're probably, we have about like 5 or 6 songs done for like a new release.
Okay.
And so I think the next one will be a full length, so we'll probably need some more music there, but we're gonna just kind of like go back to jamming. I think maybe this week or next week we're going to start getting together again and start working on a new album. And so, yeah, that was kind of like me and Max played under the name Fisthammer for like when we started playing together, it was like 2008. And then we toured and played pretty consistently up till 2015 when everyone kind of got a little burnt out and, doing that whole thing for a while. So when we reformed in 2020 and decided to do this, we were just said we just want to record. We want to put out music every year, and if we can, or at least every other year,
Yeah.
and just be busy, just put out music, and then we'll cross that bridge when it comes. So since we've spoken about maybe doing some shows, but I think still like, wanting to put music out regularly is kind of our main goal, and just keep releasing it. And then, if the opportunity comes up where it's like, oh, that's cool. We do have a couple people in mind that would play for us or with us, not for us, with us. And so, yeah, we'll see when that comes, but I think we're more open to it now than back then. So we'll see.
Cool. Well, then I have one last question. Do you have a Christmas wish or some wisdom that you want to share with the world?
That's a good question. My Christmas wish would just be to, hope that I keep being able to do music and stuff. I mean, actually, it was like 6 months ago, I pinched a nerve in my back, and so it was like a couple months of physical therapy and not being able to play. And recently I like cut my finger up, and then it's like I feel like I've been dodging these bullets. They're just like, oh man. And every time you do and you got to not play for, a month or whatever it might be, it just makes you appreciate it. So yeah, I just like hoping that I can keep playing and appreciate all the times I get to play music and all the, the collective of musicians that I know. I'm just really grateful for. So yeah, don't take it for granted. Don't take your health for granted, I guess would be the wisdom.
Yeah, that's for sure.
and do that. So yeah, that would be my biggest thing. Just really grateful. Get to keep doing this,
Okay, cool. Thank you for your nice words, and thank you for your time. I really enjoyed the interview. Thank you.
Me too. Thank you. Appreciate it. And Merry Christmas. The place looks great, the tree and everything. So
yes, thank you.
Awesome.